Chapter 10. The Unwritten Book. A week after Chris left, I copped another bag of cocaine from Top. It was almost gone. The runt was only making expenses. I had one lonely C-note and a double saw plus the porker silver. The weather was getting balmy. I needed fresh clothes. I was going to the bottom, fast. In the 3 weeks after Chris left, I kicked the runt's ass a half dozen times. I only left the hotel twice in almost a month. I was expecting Chris to call me and say she was on her way. Things were getting worse. It had been 2 weeks since I saw Top. I decided to call him. Maybe he could hit me to a new spot to work for Runt. My bankroll was thin. At 10 a.m., I called Top. One of his broads said he was out of town. He wouldn't be back for a week. I got a sudden thought. I asked her if she knew Sweet's phone number. She said she did, but she'd have to call and find out if Sweet wanted me to have it. She called back in 10 minutes and gave it to me. I called him. He answered. He was in a good mood. He said, "Well, what do you know? If it ain't Grinning Slim. You still got that one whore, or have you grinned yourself whoreless?" I looked over at the runt. She was still asleep. She hadn't been in the street for 3 days. Her period had run 5 days. She claimed she was too weak and sick to go out. I had given her a terrible whipping the night before. I needed advice, badly. I said, "Sweet, my bitch is falling apart. She's playing dead. If you don't pull my coat, I'm gonna starve to death. You gotta help me, Sweet." He said, "Nigga, you ain't cracking and nick me for scratch, are you? I don't loan my scratch to suckers who got whores and can't pimp on them. I ain't gonna support you in that lazy bitch." I said, "No, Sweet, I don't want scratch. I want you to run the game through my skull. I got a tiny bit of scratch. I gotta get my coat pulled before I tap out." He said, "You got wheels? You know how to get out here? Now remember, you get a roust out here, crack my name. Don't repeat your boner." I said, "Yeah, I'm driving. I think I can find your pad. When should I come out there?" He said, "Quick as you can get here. You get here and grin in my face, I'm gonna throw you over the patio wall. Say, kid, Peaches and me got a taste for some of that barbecued chicken down there in hell. Bring one with you when you come." He hung up. My ticker was pounding like Chris had walked in the door with $1 million. I shook the runt. She opened her eyes. I stood over her. I said, "Bitch, you better be in the street when I get back." She said, "You can't do anything but kill me. I'm ready to die. I don't care what you do to me. I'm sick." I said, "All right, bitch. Just hit me where you want your black stinking ass shipped." I got in a Ford. I realized I hadn't put on a tie. I didn't have a lid. I looked into the rearview mirror. I sure looked scroungy. Maybe he'd be alone. Then I remembered the lobby. What the hell did it matter? I drove for about 15 minutes before I saw a clean, open barbecue joint. A black stud in a tall white cap was stabbing chickens into a turning spit in the window. I went in. I came out with 2 birds. Peaches might be really hungry for barbecued chicken. It made solid sense to brown-nose Miss Peaches. After several wrong turns, I found Sweet's building. I parked the Ford in almost the same spot at the curb where Satan had sat me a month ago. A young white stud in a monkey suit was out in front. Crusader Sweet, doing his bit to reverse the social order. I went to the desk in the lobby. I felt like a tramp as I waited for the pass. I got on the elevator. A different broad was at the controls. The spicy scent of the chicken wiggled her nose. She wasn't as pretty as the ripe-smelling broad. She sure kept her crotch from advertising. Maybe it was just that she didn't get heavy action. I stepped from the cage. The friendly brown snake wasn't at his station to flop his mop for me. I figured it was his day off. The odds were 100 to 1 he was in the sack somewhere with a 6-foot blonde. She was probably a little like the blonde coming from up the pit on her way to the cage. It was Mimi. She flicked her green eyes across my face. They were cold as a frozen French lake. She passed me. She looked like fancy French pastry in her sable stole. I wondered how I got the stupid courage to turn down her freak-off. I walked to the doorway of the pit. The stone broad was still in her squirting squat. Sweet was sitting on the couch. Miss Peaches beside him saw me first. She bounded across the carpet. I felt her choppers graze my hand. She snatched a bag of chicken. She flung it on the alabaster-topped cocktail table in front of Sweet. Sweet looked at me. I tightened my face into a solemn grim mask. I stepped down and walked toward him. He was wearing only a pair of polka-dot shorts. In daylight, I noticed a mole on the broad in the picture over the couch. I said, "Hello, Mr. Jones. I hope those birds are still warm." He said, "Kid, your map sure looks like that bullshit bitch you got is shooting you through hot grease. I like that look you got today. Maybe you're getting hip. The pimp game ain't for grinning jackasses. Get over here and sit on this couch while baby and me eat our barbecue. Run down you and your whore. I want to know where and how you copped her. Tell me everything you can remember about her and what's happened since you copped her. Run down your whole life as far back as you remember. It don't matter which is first." I ran down my life for him. Then I ran down the night I met the runt until the moment I left the Haven. It took maybe 45 minutes. I even described the runt in detail. Sweet and his greedy girlfriend had devoured both birds down to the bare bones. Sweet was wiping Miss Peach's whiskers with a paper napkin. She put her head in his lap. She was jammed against my thigh. Sweet leaned back on the couch. He put his bare feet on the top of the cocktail table. He said, "Sweetheart, you're black like me. I love you. You got the hate to pimp. You a lucky nigga to get your coat pulled by me. You flap your horns and remember what I'm gonna spiel to you. There are thousands of niggas in this country who think they're pimps. The pussy-weak white pimps ain't worth mentioning. Don't none of them pimp by the book. They ain't even heard about it. If they was black, they'd starve stiff. There ain't more than 6 of them who are hip to and pimp by the book. You won't find it in the square nigger or white history books. The truth is, that book was written in the skulls of proud, slick niggas freed from slavery. They wasn't lazy. They was puking sick of picking white man's cotton and kissing his nasty ass. The slave days stuck in their skulls. They went to the cities. They got hip fast. The conning bastard white man hadn't freed the niggas. The cities was like the plantations down south. Jeff and Uncle Tom still did all the white man's hard and filthy work. Those slick nigga heroes bawled like crumb crushers. They saw the white man just on the plantation still ramming it into the finest black broads. The broads were stupid squares. They still freaked for free with the white man. They wasn't hip to the scratch in their hot black asses. Those first nigger pimps started hipping the dumb bitches to the gold mines between their legs. They hipped them to stick their mitts out for the white man's scratch. The first nigger pimps and short-shot gamblers was the only nigger big shots in the country. They wore fine threads and had blooded horses. Those pimps was black geniuses. They wrote that skull book on pimping. Even now, if it wasn't for the frantic army of white bitches, nigger pimps would starve to death. Greenie, the white man has been pig greedy for nigger broads ever since his first sniff of black pussy. Black whores con themselves the only reason he sniffs his way to them is white broads ain't got what it takes to please him. I'm hip he's got 2 other secret sick reasons. White women ain't hip to his secret reasons. The dumb white broads ain't even hip to why he locks all niggas inside tight stockades. He'd love it if the nigger broads wasn't locked in there. The white man is scared shitless. He don't want them humping bucks coming out there in the white world rubbing their bellies against those soft white bellies. That's the real reason for keeping all the niggas locked up. To show you how sick in the head he is, he thinks black broads are dirt beneath his feet. His balls will bust if he don't sneak through that stockade. Half savage, less than human black broads. You know, Greenie, why he's gotta come to him? The silly, sick bastard is like a whore that needs and loves punishment. He's a joke with scratch in his mitt. As great as he thinks he is, he can't keep his beak and swipe out of the stink of a black ass. He wallows and stains himself. The poor freak's joy is in his suffering. The chump believes he's done something dirty to himself. He slips back into his white world. He goes on conning himself he's God, and niggas are wild, filthy animals he has to keep in the stockades. The sad thing is, he don't even know he's sick in the skull. Greenie, I'm pulling your coat from the bottom to the top. That rundown on the first nigger pimps will make you proud to be a pimp. Square-ass niggas will try to put shame inside you. Ain't one of them would suck a mule's ass to pimp. They can't, because a square ain't nothing but a pussy. He lets a square bitch pimp on him. You gotta pimp by the rules of that pimp book those noble studs wrote 100 years ago. When you look in the mirror, you gotta know that cold-hearted bastard looking at you is real. Now that young bitch you got is gone lazy. She's stuffing on you. That bitch ain't sick. I ain't never seen a bitch under 20 that could get sick. Your whore is bullshitting. A whore's scratch ain't never longer than a pimp's cold game. You gotta have strict rules for a whore. She's gotta respect you to hump her heart out in the street. One whore ain't got but one pussy and one jib. You got to get what there is in her fast as you can. You gotta get 16 hours a day out of her. There ain't no guarantee you gonna keep any bitch for long. The name of the pimp game is cop and blow. Now this young bitch you got is shitty, all right. She knows you ain't got no other whore. I want you to go back to that hotel. Make that bitch get out of that bed and get in the street. Put your foot in her ass hard. If that don't work, take a wire coat hanger and twist it into a whip. Ain't no bitch, freak or not, can stand up to that hanger. Maybe your foot and fist can't move that young whore anymore. She's a freak to them. Believe me, Greenie, that coat hanger will blow her or straighten her out. It's better to have no whore than a piece of whore. Get some cotton and make her pack herself. The show can't stop when a whore bleeds. I'm gonna lay some pills on you. Give her a couple when you get her out of that bed. Don't give her any more reefer. And make some whores lazy. Don't worry, kid. If you do like I say and blow her, I'll give you a whore. Kid, don't hold that whore to one block. Tell that whore all the streets go. Turn her loose. It's the only way to pimp. If she blows, what are you lost? She stands up, you got a whore and some real scratch. You go back and put the coat hanger pressure on her. If it don't blow her and she stands up for a week, you ought to have $500 in a week. Take that scratch and drive to one of the whore towns close around. Go to Western Union. Send that scratch back to yourself at your hotel. Use some broad's name as the sender. That lazy bitch you got will think she's got competition. Watch the sparks fly from her ass. She'll try to top that bitch that doesn't exist. Greenie, you listen to Sweet Jones. You'll be a hell of a pimp. Never get friendly and confide in your whores. You got 20 whores, don't forget your thoughts or secrets. A good pimp is always really alone. You gotta always be a puzzle, a mystery to them. That's how you hold a whore. Don't get sour. Tell them something new and confusing every day. You can hold them as long as you can do it. Sweet is hipping you to pimp by the book. I'm the greatest nigga pimp in the world. Now, Greenie, is your skull gonna hold everything I told you? I said, 30 years from now, I'll still remember every word. Sweet, you won't be sorry you helped me. I'm gonna pimp my black ass off. I'll make you proud of me. I'll call you later and hip you to what the run did under hanger pressure. Oh yeah, don't forget to give me those pills. He got up. Miss Peaches stretched her legs. She jumped down and followed him. A sharp hooked nail in one of her rear claws snagged out an inch of cloth from my pants knee. I wouldn't have cared if she had clawed me naked. I was in a thrilled daze. With Sweet Jones on ready tap to pull my coat, I was going to set a record on the fast track. Sweet came back. He gave me a tiny bottle of small white pills. He put his hands on my shoulders. He looked down at me. His sub-zero eyes warmed to my maybe zero. He said, I love you, sweetheart. You know, kid, I don't ever think I'm gonna grin in your face. I love you like a son. Anytime I grin in a sucker's face, I'm gonna cross him or croak him. Call me anytime you need a rundown. Good luck, Greenie. I walked across the pit.